With Christmas approaching fast, I thought I might make my granddaughter a toy from the wood shop. She's 2 years old and a big fan of Mickey and Minnie Mouse and likes to play with push and pull toys, so I thought I'd make this custom-designed Minnie Mouse finger puppet toy car. A link to free drawings and measurements will be listed at the end of the build video. The whole thing started out as a rough drawing based on some target dimensions for the car, and I moved over to some basic presentation software, fooling around with different shapes to get me to the simple contours of the car. With the shape now done enough so that I could print it, it'll turn out to be a pretty good template that I can then cut from. For the main block of wood, I chose to cut and glue up some hard maple pieces to get me to the right overall size, though you could use other woods like poplar or clear pine for the project too. I cut and planed a thinner flat piece to get me to that overall 2-inch thickness, and then I stacked up, glued, and clamped my pieces so that I could joyously wait for the glue to dry.
But I'm afraid you'll just have to wait.
I hate waiting.
Now comes a test of my kindergarten skills. I was never really great at coloring inside the lines or staying out of trouble when I had a pair of scissors in my hand, but here we are again. I'm sorry, Mrs. McAfee, I accidentally cut Susie's hair again, but I did the best I could. From there, I moved to my high-tech spray booth to coat my cutout with a little spray glue, and then I did my best again to line up the straight edges of the cutout with the maple block. I chose to cut out the top-down profile of the car first, which will leave me with 2 flat spots on the wheel well side of the car so that I can square up and then cut the top profile next. Maple is really hard and tended to burn the wood the longer it took to cut through that thickness, but the burn marks will sand out later. My bandsaw blade may have started to dull as well, but it did finish the job. I used a little acetone to melt the glue under the paper, and it peeled off pretty easily. For the top car profile, I attached another larger block of wood with double-faced tape to help hold the car block flat on the table. This provided me a wider and safer surface to hold the block during the cut. Because that first cut surface was no longer flat, this side paper graphic didn't lay flat either, making it a little more difficult to follow the cut line, but I did the best I could knowing that I could sand and refine the shape after the cut. Now comes the crappy part of the project. Or is it the fun part? I hate sanding, but we're going to need a lot of it. If you're one of those people who actually enjoys the endless mind-numbing task of sanding, please seek professional help. Alright, let's get on with it. The goal here is to round over and shape all the upper parts of the car and smooth out all the bandsaw cut lines. Because it's hard maple, this took a lot of time, and I regret not using something softer like poplar. But like I said, let's get on with it. I'd love to say the sanding is over, but moving on to something more interesting, it's time to lay out the drill holes for the wheel wells and axles. I've included the exact measurements in the free plans that I mentioned earlier, and the layout is exactly the same on all 4 wheels. For the wheel wells, I'm using a sharp Forstner bit a little larger than the 1.5-inch diameter of the wood wheels that I'm using. I locked the car into a small vise to hold it straight upright and then drilled out enough depth to hide most of the wheel. With all 4 wheel wells drilled out, it was my first chance to take a look at the overall profile of the car, and I'm really liking it so far. I took a break from the power tools to stain the wheels using some true black stain from Minwax. They're not a sponsor, but the dark coverage is really great. And then it was off to finish drilling out the remaining trim recesses and holes for the added accessories. One of the drilled-in features will be round taillights that I plan to enhance with some epoxy and red glitter. These are tiny little 1/2-inch dowel pieces that I attach to small eye hooks so that I can hang them up to cure after dipping them in the epoxy. Four hours later, the epoxy was hard enough to work with, and they look pretty awesome. To help center the holes for the taillights, I made a tiny little scrap wood jig with center drilled pilot holes to line up my drill bit on the back of the car. A 1/2-inch Forstner bit was then used to match the diameter of the taillight dowels, and they were drilled in. With all the final accessories positioned and the holes drilled, it was time for more sanding and finishing. Sanding? I mean, just shoot me now. Well, this was an amazing and pretty satisfying little Christmas gift project for my granddaughter. I love everything about it except maybe for all the sanding, but the rounded shape of the car make it look pretty cool. I also said that there'd be some free build plans available for this cool little toy out on thefamilywoodworker.com, and you'll find it under the free stuff tab, or you can also see the direct link in the video description. Hey, I still have 4 finger puppets left for another day. Leave me a comment on how I might best use them for another project. And look out! There goes Minnie. Hey, thanks for watching. We don't ask for donations or charge for our content, so your thumbs up and a subscription mean a lot to our little channel. Thanks, and take care.